day two of the India AI Impact Summit 2026 concluded successfully at the Bharat Mandapam with a strong focus on ethical governance, real-world deployment and inclusive access to artificial intelligence. Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed India's vision for safe, human-centric AI, emphasizing responsible innovation and global collaboration. Throughout the day, sessions spotlighted transformative applications in healthcare, agriculture, education and public services, aiming to translate global dialogue into accountable, scalable action worldwide. Now, as the summit moves into day three, the focus shifts towards forging stronger international partnerships and outlining concrete roadmaps for implementation. My colleague Sumita joined us from the venue. Let's listen in.
That's right. There are expectations that day three is going to be even bigger and better, given the fact that President Emmanuel Macron, who was in Mumbai last night, is going to be here in New Delhi, and he's likely to visit Bharat Mandapam as well, which is where I'm coming to you from. Now, as far as day two is concerned, well, we've had quite an interesting lineup of speakers, whether it is startups, whether it is VC firms. In fact, we heard from Amitabh Kant, who addressed a session, and he essentially stated that India must leverage AI to build a more equitable society. In fact, IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw also held a press briefing, in fact, wherein he answered a whole host of questions. He stated that India is looking at investments worth $200 billion in the space of AI over just the next 2 years. And these investments will be across the stack of AI. So whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in applications and the other key pillars. He also stated that the Indian government is having a dialogue with industry leaders, with industry members from social media as far as regulation on social media restrictions for children is concerned. Now, that is a concept that has also been applied globally in some countries, and India is having a dialogue with social media platforms on that. The third important thing that he essentially stated was that Jensen Huang, he addressed the issue of Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's top boss, not coming here at the AI summit. He said that he wanted to come, but he had some other engagements, important engagements, which could not be avoided, and he would not like to speculate on the people who've not been able to come. So that's about Minister Vaishnaw, but let's also look at what ITI's Jason Oxman stated. He hailed India's infrastructure, he hailed India's democratization model as far as AI is concerned. He also said that American companies are looking at building in India with the MSMEs, Indian MSMEs. We also caught up with David Zapolsky, who's the policy chief at Amazon Global. He essentially hailed India's AI model, and he said that Amazon's $35 billion worth of investments are going to be in the space of building infrastructure for AI. Other than that, he also said, with respect to the US-India trade deal, that while there may be hiccups along the road, but that doesn't define the larger trajectory of both the ties. So overall, and a very interesting day two, and day three is not going to be any different.
All right, in an exclusive conversation, my colleague Sumita also spoke with David Zapolsky, Chief Global Affairs and Legal Officer at Amazon, on India's growing opportunities in AI and data centers, Amazon's strategy in the space, and how India and US trade deal could boost Amazon. Let's listen in.
Well, so all of us are using, from our appliances, to our phones, we all rely on this infrastructure to power the way we're living our lives. And so I think to achieve that, you need this type of investment. The investments that we're making will give us the building block, just like the cloud did. We'll create the AI building block for everybody to continue having easy access to this technology, and for our customers to be able to develop new uses that can improve the lives of workers, of citizens, and that governments can use to become more efficient and to do things in an even better way.
Right. Let me also ask you.
I realized I didn't quite. I meant to circle back to your question on the tax incentives. The types of investments that are required in energy, in data centers, in chips and servers, in the security infrastructure, they're generational. They're not short term. Right. Even though the market sometimes treat it as if it were short term. And so it's really important when you're deciding where to put this type of investment to have confidence in the future, to have certainty in the regulatory environment. And the tax holiday is one example that gives us certainty that in making an investment decision of this magnitude. And so we know, through 2047 that we'll have some regulatory certainty that we can rely on and continue investing in.
Right. David, let me also ask you, since we're living in very, very volatile times, you have AI on one hand, but you also have geoeconomic disruptions, with many stating that globalization is going to be over. Some other people, they sort of disagree with that. But when we talk about geoeconomic disruptions, we did see some sort of tensions between the United States and India. However, we've come out with a trade deal that has been agreed upon. A joint statement was issued, and both sides are looking at signing that in March. How are you navigating these turbulences, especially when it comes to geoeconomic turbulences, from the point of view of a brand that's operating both in the United States and India?
Well, one of the things you have to remember when you think about Amazon is that we can't run a business like the ones we run from a cubicle in Silicon Valley or from an office in New York. We really need investments. We need people. We support over 2.8 million workers in this country. We need investments in people on the ground. Our Indian business is fundamentally Indian. And so we don't even have the option of walking away and just being the American, or vice versa. And so when we look at these issues, we look much more long-term. India has been a critical partner in geopolitical politics for decades. And I have every reason to think they'll continue to be. And I'm optimistic about that. And so, are there going to be bumps in the road, at points in history? Of course. But in the long term, we wouldn't be making these types of investments and creating the presence that we have in India unless we had optimism about the future and that the United States and India will continue to be fast friends and technological partners for decades to come.
And well, let's get you all through the AI summit. My colleague Prakash also caught up with Puneet Chandu, who's the president of Microsoft India and South Asia. He shared insights on how artificial intelligence is set to transform the workplace, stressing that AI will not replace jobs but unbundle them, allowing people to focus on high-value, more meaningful work. Let's listen in.
We're showing massive solutions. We've got a massive booth as you see this. We're showing a lot of work that we're doing for eSanjeevani, which is the healthcare platform, 400 million plus sessions done. We're showing eShram, which is a labor platform that we're building using AI for 300 million plus workers in the country, unorganized workers. We're making CVs for them. We're getting them interview practice. We're getting them jobs. We're doing Crime OS, which is with the Maharashtra CM and the government to do a co-pilot for cyber investigators, cyber crime investigators. 25 police stations done, 100 police stations to be done. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that is being shown across both enterprises and public sector in India.
How important is India for Microsoft's future strategy?
One of the most important countries for us. Again, given the talent in this country, we've got 22,000 plus engineers who are building AI for us globally. We've got a massive build out in the country with the $17.5 billion investment in infrastructure and data centers. We're building the largest data center capacity in the country by middle of this year. Sovereign solutions. We're training 20 million people, 5.5 million people already trained. So it's a massive part of our strategy. It's a fast-growing market, one of the fastest-growing co-pilot markets in the world. Continuous double-digit growth in Azure, which shows you that there's enough market demand and we're building for the future.
Any sort of policy support that you needed from the government side to develop India's AI ecosystem going forward?
I think the government's already, on the front foot and way ahead of us, right? If you look at the recent budget, the announcements for data centers are a step in the right direction. The whole spend on AI mission is an incredible step in the right direction. And the government is constantly talking to us. We're learning, we're bringing best practices from the world to the government. And then the government is framing policies, making sure that we take care of Indian citizens, Indian sovereignty, Indian trust, Indian innovation, but also bring the best of the world to India. And I think that's something which we should all feel proud of.
All right, moving on then, seeing hunger and eagerness across India to acquire AI skills. That's the word coming in from HCL Tech's head of AI, Alan Flower. He also says that the future belongs to AI native enterprises. Let's listen in.
When you think about the future of industry in general, it should be obvious to anyone at this show this week that the future belongs to those AI native enterprises. You can see clear evidence now that tomorrow's successful business organizations will be those that leverage advanced AI to transform the way they run their operations. That's exactly the journey we're on here at HCL Tech. We're very advanced on our journey to become a fully AI native organization. What that really means is we're leveraging AI to bring more value to our clients around the globe. We can deliver value more quickly, and we become a far more productive organization. This is exactly the journey that successful businesses want to be on as well. So we're very busy in our AI labs in particular, helping businesses here in India and around the globe leverage AI to transform the way that they conduct themselves.
How do you see India, especially the progress which have been made in AI ecosystem, the kind of support that the government has been providing? So what is your opinion on that?
Well, look, what a great place to ask me that question, all right? This is a phenomenally successful event, the AI Impact Summit here in Delhi, well attended by businesses as well as students and educators as well. Just looking, for example, at the sheer number of students and younger people that are attending this week shows you the hunger and the eagerness across India for people to acquire the skills, to leverage AI, to transform their careers as well as their businesses going forwards, right? Now, from my perspective, and I lead our AI labs, our most successful AI lab in HCL Tech globally is our lab here in Delhi, all right? So what great evidence of the progress that India has made. I'm really encouraged by the quality of the workforce that we have here in India. I'm really impressed by the quality of students that are walking through our door now. In terms of us now preparing for the future skills that we need to be successful, I think it's very encouraging to see these young students now come into HCL Tech with many of the foundational skills that we feel are necessary to be successful.
My last question before I let you go, do you seek any sort of policy-related support from the Indian government, especially focused on India's ecosystem that could help going forward?
Well, I'm not really here to comment on the Indian government, of course. I'm not a native from India, so you shouldn't expect me to. But most importantly, at the national level, I'm really encouraged by the support that I see across India, right? We find business leaders in this country fully aware of the impact that AI should bring to their organization. The wider ecosystem, particularly the universities and the colleges, as I said before, are doing a very good job to prepare people to be successful on this journey as well.
And we'll keep getting you more from this AI summit, but with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.